took the prize as the most colorful troupe, while Dante's Inferno, organized by Mr. L. Khoury, was judged as the most original troupe.
Adventures in history.
Here are your horseless ValueMart IGA specials.
Running February 20th to March 5th.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Nature Valley granola bars are just $12.99 each. Stonebridge Premium Ice Cream, $16.99. Essential Everyday Cream Cheese Bars, just $7.99. Lender's Bagels, $12.99. Banquet Chicken Tenders and Nuggets, $24.99. Morningstar Meatless Entrees, just $20.99 each. And now, our very low weekly
Value deals. Essential Everyday Gelatins, $4.99. Libby's canned vegetables, $2.99. Almond Breeze, almond milk, $17.99. The Peter Pan peanut butter, $12.99. Edge shaving gel cream, $16.99. White Rain shampoo and conditioner, $16.99. Shop smart, shop ValueMart. Tell them in Spanish.
sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en ValueMart.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WINFM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WINFM 98.9.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on WINNMedia 98.9.
Good morning, and welcome to today's edition of Island Tea. It's Friday. It's the last day of the shortest month of the year. It's the 28th of February 2025. Grateful that I would have made it thus far. I hope everybody shared the same sentiments. Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the regional and international diaspora, and to all listening. Thank you for joining us this morning. Remember, if you have something you want to speak about or you want to join in on the topic, the numbers you can call. The number for the UK is 0333 440065. For the USA, we have two numbers, 718 285 6984. The second number is 305-924619, and our local numbers 466-0989 and 662-0989. So welcome to one and all once again, and good morning. Q, how are we doing this morning?
Well, I'm fine, and I can see that you're looking fine.
Yeah. Trying my best to be my best on this lovely Friday morning. It's the last day of the month, as I mentioned, and I'm grateful. And I know I didn't get here by my own mercy, so I got to say thanks to the Most High for that
most
part.
Definitely.
And I want to begin with congratulatory remarks for the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services. It's their silver anniversary, so it's their 25th anniversary. They will be celebrating year long, and it's their 25th anniversary, let me say it, since their separation from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. And they became an independent body on January 4th, 2000. So they said to commemorate its silver anniversary, the fire department has organized a year-long slate of activities under the theme Honoring Our Past, Surviving the Present While Shaping the Future, 25 Years Fire Services Maneuver. So congratulations. The entire article can be read on winfm.com. It was written by Yulana Weeks. We normally, had fire talk here on Fridays.
Yes.
We have not had it for quite a while, so I just wanted to send out greetings to the gentleman, Officer Hodge, Officer Clark, Officer Martin, Officer Williams. Thank you for sharing your time when you shared it with us. We appreciate it, and good luck on your year-long activities. And once again, congratulations on 25.
Yeah, congratulations on your 25th, and here's looking forward to a brighter future.
Yeah, indeed. And at Fire Free Week, as we normally say all the time, to the fire men and women at the St. Kitts Nevis Fire and Rescue Services. And in other headlines on the local scene, I see Minister Clark addresses landfill fire and national park development in Parliament. The CFBC graduation 2025 marked the completion of intensive studies for 281 individuals. So congratulations on, as we would say here, toughing it out, making it to the end. And on the regional scene, I see CARICOM UN European Commission call for cooperation, partnership, and global flux. Caribbean leaders discuss climate change, U.S. relations, and regional challenges at 48th regular meeting. Internationally, it says USA aid workers will be given 15 minutes to clear their workspaces as the agency gets dismantled. And then it says Trump foreign aid freeze to stay for now. U.S. Supreme Court chief rules. Wow.
Mm-hmm. I guess there'll be a lot of stays ruled by the court in the
I like that.
not too distant future.
Yeah. There's just too much going on in the world. And right across the waters, we saw Anguilla just got its first female premier.
Ah.
Yeah. So they ousted.
Congratulations.
Yeah, they ousted the other party. So it is. So it's the AFU sweeps the power as Cora Richardson Hodge becomes Anguilla's first premier and cement her place in history. It said the Anguilla United Front unseated the ruling APM, that's the Anguilla Progressive Party. The AFU won 8 of the 11 contested seats. For Anguilla being that small, I'm surprised they had so many seats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and some of the a 2-day election. How is that? I don't know how the electoral system works. I know Anguilla was once part of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes.
Why a 2-day election? Why not? We have an election in 1 day here. I would say does 2 days include the counting of the votes?
I have no idea. I cannot assess how these individuals do their political, They're still linked to Britain, though.
Mm.
They're still linked to Britain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Okay. And some of the issues they fought for was the GST, that's the controversial goods and services tax, the management of the Anguilla AI domain name, rising crime levels, the cost of living, and tourism development. And then there was, I don't know who was fighting for this one. I'll try to investigate, but I didn't get much information on it. Proposal to remove voting rights from diaspora voters, a plan ultimately shelved after fierce public backlash.
Well, I would expect that, because internally you don't want the decision of the running of your country to be influenced by
People who don't live there?
Yeah.
But what about the people in the diaspora that keep up with what's happening? Growing up as a child, I never followed politics like that. Now I am getting into it because of work. But why does the vote of the diaspora matters? Why is it that the persons that live, I would say, since we are federation, why do the persons that live in the federations are not the only one to vote? Why do we need the diaspora to come?
Well, that is the question. I don't know. From my assessment, I think the politicians, well, it has been estimated that the diaspora is much larger than the native population. And the politicians, they see that as a plus for them. And what seems to have been happening is that the politicians will get into power and don't pay much attention to the locals, knowing that when the election comes up, they have this mass amount of individuals out there they can turn to, who a lot of them might not be au fait with what is happening internally, and they're just patriotic, and they say, well, and and these politicians go out and visit them and give them a different side of the story to what is actually happening internally. And because they're patriotic, they feel, well, yeah, I can contribute to, and these numbers change the situation. So in the individuals who are residing internally I would see a problem with that.
Yeah, because I always wonder, why is it the persons that live in the Federation, why is it's not enough? That's how I look at it. It seems to be not enough. Like the outside, I don't want to say interference, but the outside help is needed.
It used to be back in the day that the internal populace was enough. But as I said, politicians are and will be politicians. And
all over the world, huh?
Wherever they see chances for them to benefit themselves and stay in the seat of authority, they will use it.
And then I saw another news article. Listen, I'm trying my best to pick sense from nonsense. But there's something that says Dr. Drew is telling the PAM administration not to join in another coalition with
with
PLP.
PLP. I
You
heard
really
him.
believe that?
I actually heard him on the last press conference that he did. I actually heard him say that.
Oh, so it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, okay. But why would you
Because
give your opponent ideas? And then I see a lot of things floating around where it says it could either be like a Labour and somebody else joining up, or I saw something this morning with Shani Gray Brooks, Miss Janice Daniel, and Mr. Harris talking about a 3.0 coalition. I mean, how long has coalitions worked before for somebody that?
We have a caller.
Okay, caller. Good morning. You're live on Island T.
Yeah, good morning to you, Kortensia. How you doing?
I'm
Good
good,
morning to you
Burl.
and the
How
other
are you?
You and the other person there. Yeah, good afternoon to that gentleman. Good morning to that gentleman too. Sorry.
Yes, good day to you.
Yeah, good morning. How you guys doing today? Good?
Good, good.
Yeah, TGIF, huh?
Yep, thank God.
Yeah. Okay, there was a situation that was circulated about Azad that we need to probably get cleared up. And for myself, I had a commentary last night on another program, and I want to kind of correct myself. And from what I understood before, it sounded like they were saying Azad was removed as the deputy leader of PAM. But in fact, I got this straight from the horse's mouth last night, and he said that he was only removed from being the chairperson in the constituency where he's possibly interested in running. So to all the people out there, we have to get that right. I mean, I don't know who's going to come back and make that statement to the public, but I'm just correcting myself if I made a mistake last night. I did talk to Azad himself directly on text last night. So he said he is no longer the chairperson in the constituency, but he is still the deputy leader, one of the deputy leaders of PAM. So we want to get that straight, and the public should take note of that.
Yes.
So we don't have, so we don't be out here putting out misinformation.
Yeah.
Different than that, the politicians in Sinkis and Nevis, they got the place a certain way. They got the people a certain way with their hands out, and because of that, they're taking advantage. So the politicians got the people one way, and the people got the politicians one way as well, another way or whatever. The place to me is in a political crisis. We saw how team unity explode and fall apart. That showed a lot of immaturity with that situation. Those persons who let that team unity structure explode and fall apart, they didn't exhibit the maturity that we need in our leaders. They didn't take in mind country above self.
Yeah.
I traveled down to Sinkis and Nevis in 2015 to witness that election. When I came into Bastille and I came into that RLB airport, the airport was like a carnival scene. It was so much people. It was so crowded. I thought I was in Brazil, man. I
But
traveled over to Nevis when
Uh-huh.
when the election went down. They waited for Timothy Harris and I think one other person got sworn in down in St. Kitts. And those guys traveled over to Nevis that same night. In Charlestown, I thought I was in Brazil again.
Mm-hmm.
The way how the place was so mobilized just to move Douglas out of there, it just seemed like all those parties came up against one man. It didn't even seem like they came up against labor. They wanted to get Douglas out of there so bad that they succeeded at doing that. And then for them to explode and broke apart like they did, it was very disappointing for the electorates to sit there and watch that happen. So now we're about to approach another election in 2 years. And if these politicians don't grow up and put country above self, chaos might break out in Bastille when the next election goes down. And those politicians will be held, they will be held responsible for that. The electorates don't deserve that type of treatment. So you hear what you just said? Dr. Drew is trying to tell, he's advising Pam not to link with PLP.
Mm-hmm.
He can't control Pam party. That is just a tactic on his side to try to stay in power.
Yeah.
But to move the incumbent, they only have to take away, the electorates only have to take away one seat from Labour in the first instance, and the government collapse. And then they got to come back around the second instance, take away 4 seats. And then Labour won't be able to run over to Nevis and form the party with CCM if CCM is
But do you
successful
think,
with 3 seats over there.
Carla, do you really think Labour needs a coalition to win? Because it's been proven over and over from what I see, and I'm only talking about what I see because you know I'm not into politics, that they can do it on their own. I remember when I was younger living in St. Kitts and they had the all 8 sweep, they did that by themselves. They had no opposition that time.
Yeah, they can do it, yeah, but guess what? Like I'm telling you, from what the people is going through on the ground and what we are hearing, they might not be able to do that this time around. So like I'm telling you, my scenarios right now is in the first instance, the electorate only have to take away 1 seat from Labour. And I'm guaranteeing you that's very possible. And in the second instance, take away 4 seats from them so that then they will be left with 2 seats. And if CCM take 3 seats in Nevis, they still won't be able to form the government. So that's why Dr. Drew is speaking up right now. He already don't see what's going on. But according to McMahon, and I know you guys was listening to McMahon, I don't remember if that was yesterday or the day before, but McMahon was exhibiting his dissatisfaction when he spoke on Island Key. I think that was either yesterday or the day before. I can't remember which day it was. This morning it was. But that commentary that he did was very interesting. And the people are dissatisfied with the politicians and just keep taking the country around in circles. The politicians, they don't have no integrity. They're selling out the place and they're not representing the people that put them there. And the electorates are very dissatisfied with that. And that's where McMahon is coming up with that theory or that motto, we keep changing until we get the change we need. And I definitely feel that might happen in the next election. So that's my little small contribution right now. But we don't need no chaos to break out in Bastille. These politicians definitely got to mature enough to form that government ASAP. So chaos don't break out. And it's definitely seems like it's going to be a coalition government, no matter what. It's going to be a coalition government. So then, therefore, those politicians, they have to start thinking in that direction. Otherwise, chaos might break out. Thanks a lot, man. You guys have a good day.
All right. Thanks for your contribution as usual. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back after this.
Found the sound 98.9
Adventures in history.
It's Black History Month, and here are a few black inventors and their inventions. Norbert Rillieux, sugar refining system that revolutionized the making of sugar in 1846. W.H. Salmons, hot comb in 1920. Louis Temple, toggle harpoon in 1848. Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, first open heart surgery in 1893. Granville Woods, multiplex telegraph system allowing messages to be sent and received from moving trains in 1887. Railway air brakes that provided the first safe method of stopping trains in 1903. And steam boiler radiator in 1884. Just a few black inventors and their inventive contributions to our world.
Adventures in history.
Voices has a new time. Starting Friday, January 24, tune in from 10 to 12 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Voices right after Island Tea on Win FM. Money Matters with Dr. Terrence Martin moves to Monday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. Inside the News on Saturday mornings, now 10 to 12 noon. Tune in to Win FM 98.9. Log on to WINNMediaSKN.com and our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch pages. And let's go. Keep up with the news on our website and by following our Win Media SKN channel on WhatsApp. Message your comments or call WinFM at 466-0989, 662-0989, or call our U.S. numbers from anywhere, 718-285-6984, 305-921-4619, and call our sales office at 466-9586. Voices, now 10 to 12 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Money Matters, 1 to 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. And Inside the News, Saturdays, 10 to 12 noon on WinFM 98.9.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together. They deserve your best. A message brought to you by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea, and as we was just discussing elections, coalitions, and the upset that could come in our next general elections. I don't know. I lived, as everyone would have known, I'm not Kittian. I've lived here for the past almost 30 years, and I don't know. I've always seen the Labour government survive on their own. As I said, I've been hearing a lot of chatter in terms of them needing to partner up eventually. I'm sure most of us have heard of infighting and disagreements and whatever, but we know that happens even in our households. So who wouldn't have a little disagreement here and there? But once the party is strong, then I think they can survive.
I think that I concur with you to a considerable extent. I think it is for the Labour Party to lose. It is for them to not perform. And if the electorate are so disillusioned, then it is up to the electorate. Because remember, the electorate still have, it may not have ever happened before, but we're dealing with a new electorate, a new kind of electorate. They're not aligned to, so.
Like people of back then, because your mother is red, you stay red. Because your father is yellow, you stay yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, the electorate now is saying, what is in it for me?
Yeah. But
irrespective of the parties, they're looking out for their future. And if they don't feel
what kind of future, though? Because the next thing that I'm hearing is the complaints about the new, I don't know if you're afraid with the new wallet system.
Yes.
A lot of people are saying they're not allowed to spend their monies how they wanted to spend their monies, as under the previous administrations that just gave them the money, gave them more than what they're getting now. and they could have spent it however. But how I look at it, and please people don't come for me, it's a way for the government to ensure that your bills are paid.
Yes.
And you have the essentials or the necessary things, that you need, but to each his own.
And I agree. And it's also a way for the government to assess whether what they're giving you as aid is working, because the records come back to them. They can see statistically. But there's the old saying, old habits die hard.
Yeah.
When you're accustomed to doing things a certain way and people change it, it's going to be a problem.
Always.
Especially with humanity as humans as we are.
Yeah.
If your mother is accustomed to giving you $10 for lunch every day, and one day she says, you know, I things are kind of tight, I will only give you $3. Usually you don't look at perhaps, well, mommy has bills and so on to pay. You're looking at $3.
Exactly.
You understand?
What can I buy with that?
You understand?
Exactly.
So people, and there's another aspect to it too, because people, there are some individuals who might not be so disillusioned by the fact that they have to how they spend the money is being followed and tabulated. But what they're questioning is, are there some signs of a dictatorship? Are you where you will stop with this, you know? How far will you push this thing of you monitoring and controlling how we spend, you know? So that's another aspect of it. That's another part of the problem. You see?
So do you think that they should have been given the leeway to spend the money? Because as you rightfully say, the government will know how the money is spent because they'll get the checks and balances, the receipts and whatever. Because I'm sure now they're going to calculate, okay, most of this money went to groceries. So this is what the populace needs. More money for groceries because prices are high. Or a lot of people paid their bills down. A lot of people kept their bills up to date.
Yes.
So, but do you think that they should have just said, it's your money, spend it how you want, and then just look at how it was spent and then come back to the population and said, look, you spent the money in this way, we don't, but they might still look at it as dictatorship,
well,
right?
yes, that is it.
Yeah.
You and I, we should never dare to try to say what government should or shouldn't do in terms of when it comes to money. You know, money can cause a whole lot of problems. So it's a very touchy thing. But I think there's an underlying aspect to it. I think if the government had given the wallet just as they have done, but the economy was better and there were other things going good, then the people will say, well, okay, I don't like the fact that you're controlling how I spend this, but the economy looks good otherwise. You understand? The future looks good otherwise. But from what the masses are saying, it doesn't look good. So what they're thinking is, okay, it doesn't look good. You give us this. You want to control how we spend it. What is going to happen tomorrow if it gets worse? And people are also looking at the amount. You understand? A lot of people are feeling, well, it's a little bit, you know what I mean? Especially when you went and you got your big salary and that isn't decreasing in any way. So people are looking at different things, different scenarios, and remember, we're dealing with individuals who are not foolish. You understand? People,
the young people are wiser.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very wise.
And not aligned to a party to say, well, in the old days, people would have said, well, let me take me blows because it's my party, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, not with this younger generation.
So you think this is where the party loyalty or the party allegiance ends in this era with the young people that we have, bearing in mind that they tell them, oh, you just pay your bills, buy your groceries, feed yourself. I would think that was a good thing, but to each his own, yeah? For me, I can't say it's a bad thing because, again, I understand what the government is trying to do, but we're not the people. Yeah.
Individuals
we're
have
just
their
two.
own. Yeah, we're just two.
Yeah.
And we can't, you know, And as to your question as to whether I think this will be the end, that will only be proven when the election comes up. We can say and we can assume, but the election might come up and they decide to stick with the system that is, you understand? As well as they decide to change. We cannot determine what the electorate will do. The electorate, sometimes it surprises me.
Yeah, big talks, no action. Yeah, I know Burl like to say, oh, we need to demonstrate, but I tell Burl all the time, that's never going to happen. And I wanted to ask Burl a question whilst he was talking, and I know he's still listening. What do you, Burl, think about the imported voters? For those that really don't follow what's happening, for those that trip may be a trip that they couldn't afford to take, they're just going to come home and put an X, as Q would have mentioned, and don't know what is happening internally. How is that benefiting us? And how does it, because we are not the only...
We have a call.
Okay. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good
How are
day.
you?
I friend, have you prayed as yet? Remember today is National Day of Prayer. You know?
Yes, it is. Praise the Lord.
Yes, we have.
No,
Yes,
yeah,
I
today,
did.
Today.
Woke up, prayed up.
Yes. So to all the residents, citizens and residents, remember to pray. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pray for the peace of St. Kitts.
Yes.
We need peace and prosperity. People are now so transactional that I don't think that maybe only older people are loyal to parties, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we said.
And when I observed the switching that took place after the breakup of unity, I said no. Prominent PAM went over, so prominent Labour went over, so you don't know really what people
will do,
what they pledge to.
Yes.
Yeah, people from one executive gone over here a lot. It teaches us one thing, you know. The Bible says, woe to the man who put his confidence in man.
Yes.
Whose help the Son of Man is.
Sylvine, let me ask you a question, because you're a statistician and economist and so on.
The word is statistician.
Yeah, statistician. Well, bear with me sometimes because I slur my words. Okay, so what do you feel in terms of the way the government disseminated the money? We are thinking that perhaps it was a good thing because the government can assess how it is spent, but we would like your opinion, because I feel that you are better qualified.
Opinion, yes, let me start with my opinion.
Yes.
It was not properly thought out.
Okay.
It was unexpected.
Okay.
You know, singing a song, all that, things not going well and whatever.
Yes.
They feel pushed to do something.
Yes. Yes.
My idea, right, just based on that, because when you have unplanned things, it disrupts other things, you know, that you have to do.
Yes.
You go to government places, the auto supplies, the money come from somewhere. So they're busy diverting the funds from one area to another area. What I said, you have a list from NAC who don't pay, who way behind. You have a list from Skelec and Water Department, you start right there. You make direct transfer to them in the name of the people. It might sound hard to some people, because they were eating.
Brick, I don't fully understand what...
Let me say it again. The government has to be bailing out the statutory bodies.
Yes.
Because people are not, and some of them are able to pay.
Yes.
You get a list of delinquent, it might sound to you like something else, because they get the money and they're still not paying.
Okay.
Because number one, the 250 can't be anybody's mortgage.
Yes, yes.
So if you decide to say, well, go pay your mortgage with it, nothing, not yet, they have to go and find the rest.
Yes, yes.
So I was thinking, why not transfer the money based on the list, eh?
Yes.
If I can't keep up with my electricity bill, pay for them. You do your calculation, you know how many, you transfer that. And whatever is, and you number one, the list is too long. You can't put nobody with 5,000, nobody who making 1,000 something.
Yes.
The list should have been shortened. That is rush. You know your rush?
That I agree with that point, that last point you made, in terms of the from 5,000
to 1,000 something.
Yes, yes.
And then pensioners, even the little thing you get them, can't even get them up to 3,000.
Yeah.
So they should have shortened the list, direct some payments into these statutory bodies to cover the debt or some of the debt of the people. Because while they say, oh, go pay your electricity bill, chances are that's all you could pay with it.
Yes.
And then you give them a smaller amount of cash.
Yes.
Caller, do you think the 500 was way better than the 250, and was it more progressive in terms of how you saw the country?
The thing that was wrong with the 500 was the list was too long.
Okay, all right.
So they cut it, but still there was some other people who could have gone, because some people who were getting step, the one step.
Yeah.
So I was thinking you should only be on one program.
Yes, it makes sense.
If you're on step, then give you 125 and make it 500. But you can't be getting 2 and 3. So it's the politics and not the planning. It was not properly worked out nor calculated. It's a matter of appeasing the people.
Yes.
And as life get harder, people get more
desperate.
Yeah, demands are greater.
Yeah, demands.
Yes.
So you got to look how you want to win next year, but good reasoning, people could reason, you know.
Yeah.
Because they have to reason in their own home. So you are all right, you're paying $150 from the money to not Scanton. They want something else.
Yes.
Skellig and water department, and it's $20 a month. Usually the basic, eh?
Yes. Yes.
So if they send the $20 every other month, 100, you could see your own debt, your situation improving. And a lot of them who complaining, maybe they shouldn't be getting. Because if you say you can't eat, what else they want to buy with it?
Yeah, that I feel that because there are so many other things happening in the economy that are making it hard. The people feel that 250 is not enough, and then you control how they spend it, so that agitates them even more.
You know, human beings are unreasonable. Well, economics assume what is called the reasonable man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not economics. You know, a lot of them know, they have no discipline. They have no discipline in managing their own finances.
That is true.
I mean, in the day, my parents work on the estate. You knew at the end of the week you're going to get $6 or $13. You therefore arrange with the shopkeeper to credit you, and you pay some. Now, if the shopkeeper said that you're not paying, you're going to have to starve.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're going to have to find some other means of income, go work a piece of ground and sell the plant. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But nobody thinking about making their own decisions. Some of the things that we want, we may think we need them. But we must put something else important in front. What exactly do they want to do with the money?
But
do you think
they should have their own will. Just okay, they spent the other monies that were received under the previous administration the way they wanted to. Do you think they should be allowed to do the same thing now? Because they feel stifled.
No. I said no.
Yes.
I told you.
Yes.
I told you.
Okay.
Some of the money should be allocated
straight to the
statutory
corporations.
bodies that they would not pay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In some cases, they would get none.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you can't pay the mortgage, I like the song that you know, pay your mortgage on time. If they're not even, you're begging them till today. In the old time days, only 3 months you were allowed, you know. But the politics come in, and the politicians so stupid, we give you the house. But if you give somebody else, they don't own nobody.
Yes.
They breed it. And I believe they're going to have coalition, you know, believe it or not. What Dr. Joe government has been taking possession of Nevis resources. You know, talking about the geothermal, you know, it's our geothermal land. We need to Nevis, and they're doing all the same. Nevis have to depend on them to be able to pay their wages. You know, politicians, right? They're going to put this screw on CCM. So Mark might have to join with them.
Join with who? Labour or the PLP? Okay. But you really think they're not going to be able to come back in as by themselves?
Right now, no.
Okay.
You see, they promised too many large capital projects, and they don't have the money for it. And you just start mean dig foundation, that's not start.
But don't you think they're working on getting the capital? Because technically they still have about 2.5 more years to go.
Right now, remember that the inflows from the CBI has fallen severely according to them, you know. So when you begin to accumulate debt, you're heading back to the IMF.
Okay.
Because the central bank now has more control over national bank. Okay. Because when they were running up all the debt, there was no control, and even this, according to the Banking Act, banks are not allowed to hold estates as assets. This is one reason that they put the money into this thing they call PBC or something like that, private something.
Yeah.
So if the bank, what the bank can access, if you have assets, people, then you're supposed to sell it. So you don't go and put a lot of real estate in your balance sheet. So the banks and a lot of security that the government used to pass over the treasury bills, whatever they can sell, they don't talk that, but that's a fact. And having changed the way you got your treasury bills interest and your bonds, people have lost trust.
Yes.
So they could float all the bonds, people outside might buy them. But if you would have lost 50% of your value,
yeah,
now we're going to take up none because of the next government, whether unity or anybody.
Yeah.
So people have lost trust in the government's ability to repay them. So that they have to look at that.
Because
and when they go out, when they were doing the debt restructuring, they couldn't get people to write up the debt because people said, well, look, in fact, they should not even have gone to the IMF because they were collecting enough money to pay the bank.
Yeah.
They were collecting enough to pay National Bank, the almost broke National Bank, because they carried much about 70% of the debt. So they had to pass the land, but the trouble is they can't keep the land.
Yeah.
You know, so. But it's possible. I am looking at it, you know, the way that they're winding in Mark. They think Mark's stupid? All right. If unity can reform under different leadership, it will reform.
Yes.
Either Pam can be the Prime Minister or Brantley.
But
And
there's,
if it is,
but Sylvine, there's another party in Nevis. So you're saying that other party in Nevis doesn't have any, they have no.
yes, but they don't have no federal seat.
Oh, yes, that is a point. That is a very valid point.
So if you ain't gone on down here, you can't add it. But Labor is actually almost a minority thing, you know. They only have one.
Yes. That is what the previous caller was saying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So somebody gonna have to sell themselves. And don't think that because you see people were disillusioned when unity broke up. Now people were tired of this Pam and Labor fight in the place, you know.
Yes.
And so they said, well, all right, we know where Timothy come from. We know the other two. Let's give it a try.
Yes.
And to watch it crumble for me for not much.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big blow to the electorate.
Yeah, but you see, when you got party supporters who only concern is their own welfare. Oh, turn, but the man said to you know. Oh, he's the best suited and all kind of story. You dig in your own grave. So Labour, and it isn't that people love Labour and vote them in, you know. People vote for different reasons.
Yes.
If you all could break up unity, why put you back in? Because Labour is in this way. You have Dr. Douglas faction and Dr. Joe faction. And some people don't even hide it. Some of them don't even make an attempt to get unity in the party.
Yeah.
And then there is one individual carrying all kind of issues to further create confusion. When you go and join with MSR who has no reputation, and you encourage them to take it to the U.S. state for the RICO, then you hate your own country.
That is a whole other story.
What
do you feel? What do you feel about Dagenet? I think is trying to continue that. Is Dagenet his name? The former prime minister of another island, who.
He's the leader of the opposition.
Yes, and he's trying
to. That's politics. That's politics.
Which island is this, Miss Henry?
St. Lucia.
Oh yes.
St. Lucia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
he want to get an injunction to stop the selling of the passport.
Yeah.
No, he's out. You understand?
Yeah, because
he's the opposition. Yeah.
I think, and this is where people get real disillusioned because you're opposition. You're trying to destroy a thing that you know is of such a vital.
Destroying the ordinary man.
Yeah.
It's more than a thing, you know, because this thing has become so dominant in our economics, our economy.
Yes.
I mean, what has MSR done for them other than bleed the country? I mean, really, we're black and we like black people. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
What has he done for Nevis money? They turn around and they allow him to buy OTI without money. And then our good patriots, as some of them call themselves, carrying the man case, have the discussion. Wrong is wrong and corruption is corruption and it should be corrected.
Yes.
But you're taking the wrong person.
Yeah.
You different. Why didn't you do it yourself? This is my point.
And these are the things that have the electorate in the position where they are just full of mistrust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, Miss Henry, we're going to have to take a bit of a commercial break.
All of our people, right, whether you believe in God or not, you know. When the wind starts to blow and the rope starts to fly, you'll find out when you're in God. All right, then.
Thank you for your contribution as usual.
Yeah, let's take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back. WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Adventures in history.
Did you know that the Pogson Hospital was built in 1891 on an acre of land that was donated by Edward Pogson, a planter? The administration paid the owner of the building in which it was housed rent of £40 per annum, but it became dilapidated and an alternative accommodation was required.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on WINNMediaSKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea as we continue our conversation. As I said, boy, I don't like to jump in the political scene, but these things are happening and we have to talk about it because we need the powers at hand to know what the people are thinking and how to move forward with things. It's yet to be seen because there's still chatter that, no other party is strong enough to win the election. It just might be Labour again, but we don't know. We don't know what can happen under the scenes. And they say once bitten, twice shy. I am not trying to tell anybody that they shouldn't get in a coalition, but I don't know if I would want to be in something that hurt me before. You know that way? Just like relationships. I'm not going to go back to the person that was horrible to me. Not at all. And I'm going to look for traits in the new one that reminds me of that person. And if it shows up, I'm going to be like, this ain't for me. I'm going to move on. So I don't know. To each his own.
I don't think that people are going to accept a coalition unless it offers them a perceived hope that they feel, there's some, as Sylvine said, it would have to be PAM leadership or someone of the other parties. I don't know if people are ready to have Timothy again as the leader. So that's the question.
Okay. I got a release from Azad, and he says, I'm going to read a bit of it. It says, Gums committed to Constituency 4. My beloved constituents of Constituency 4, and by extension the entire nation, I remain resolute and unwavering in my pursuit to ensure our constituency is adequately represented and our people truly receive the representation they deserve. As someone who was born and raised in Constituency 4, I am with you as much as I am of you. My heart beats for the upliftment and development of our community and beyond. Your love, encouragement, and support continue to inspire me. I remain humble by your strong belief in me, which will propel me to provide the representation you truly deserve. The time for candidate selection is nigh. As such, I am happy to announce that I have submitted my application to the People's Action Movement for consideration in the hope that I shall be selected as its candidate for constituency number 4 for the next general elections.
We have a caller.
Okay. Caller, go ahead.
Oh, we lost them.
Okay, so to this end, I will continue to listen to your concerns and advocate on your behalf. Together we shall rise. So it's, you see why you really have to get information from the horse's mouth. He wasn't booted out, but he is contesting to be the leader for the constituents of that.
We have a caller.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T.
Hello.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Hi, good morning, Kortensia. Good morning, Quint.
Yes, good day.
Patrick.
Yes.
I wanted to weigh in on two matters pertaining to land by Dwyer Astafan, his commentary. The recent one was with a little lot of land there on the golf course.
Yeah.
He raised the issue, and there was a petition that went out towards the stagnation of the potential development some 12, 14 years ago, what have you, over on the southeastern peninsula. And according to some indication, to the political circles, it was said that the Prime Minister would have weighed in on that matter. But I listened to an interview with the Prime Minister on Freedom Radio, and lo and behold, there was no indication. Maybe he would do it at his press conference. But I would like to get the government perspective, the government stance on the lands, especially the Southeast Peninsula land. As Dwyer Astafan would have said, it's about 1/5 of the lands that think it's once, even though most of those lands were in privately owned hands at the Southeastern Peninsula. But I myself has signed on the petition because when it comes to land is like a rock beneath one's feet.
Yes.
And we cannot afford to lose that rock, that piece of land beneath our feet, because we'll be a landless people. We'll be living on a piece of turf which is not owned by us. And we'll be tossed aside. We'll be asked to move here, not to move there, not to bathe on this beach, and so forth and so forth. Our founding fathers, our forebearers, had really tried to really secure the land for us. But unscrupulous politicians over the years, because of corruption, and I guarantee you, Quint and Kortensia.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah, we're listening. We're listening to you. We're hearing you.
Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
There was a little interruption. But I guarantee you, Quint and Kortensia, that President Trump had even, maybe by the influence of Elon Musk, his sidekick, or the true president, went after South Africa for more reasons. For one, South Africa could have identified with the Palestinian cause.
Yes.
Because what is happening in Palestine is like tantamount to apartheid.
Yes.
In South Africa in 1994-95 has become of age to shrug off apartheid. So what's more befitting as a nation to show solidarity with the Palestinians than the South Africans? And for that,
Elon Musk
Biden went out, and the administration, the Trump administration, would have continued it as to attacking South Africa. Well, the South African government is a sort of like coalition, whereas the ANC only got 40% of the vote, and they needed the DA, the Democratic Alliance. And the Democratic Alliance, if you check the origin of the Democratic Alliance, along with other parties, but the Democratic Alliance Party, they're more like on the other side. You know, probably their origins was in the apartheid. And because there is a coalition government in South Africa now, where you have condescending parliamentarians, you know, in terms of a certain issue. But for the fact that...
Oh, boy.
Okay, we lost that. Africa, if you can, before the show, you can call back.
Because it cut off. But most countries that had coalitions, I've not seen them work
you're right.
to the end. Because
the caller
there's
seems to
always
be
some
back.
kind of...
Let's try and call again. Hello?
The call is back?
Yeah. I don't know if it's him.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, for the fact that the South African government, parliament, have decided to really get a good hold of this land issue in South Africa, whereas 7% of the people in South Africa own 9% of the land and the most arable land. It is too lopsided. It's too obvious. And that could not evade parliamentarians. And so they probably tabled it. And Mr. Trump pounced on it. You know? Come on. The South African government is taking the right path after all of this thing that through the apartheid, these lands was taken from the people and the lands needs to be dispersed.
Yes.
So I am saying, and from that premise, I am saying that probably I don't want our Prime Minister to get cold feet. Because here is it. Trump is defending the South Africans, the white Boers, the Afrikanos, that the Dutch, the former Dutch people. And this investor over on the Southeastern Peninsula is a United States citizen from somewhere from the Carolinas. So more so, Mr. Trump will have a voice or some legitimacy to even defend an American citizen the way he is defending South Africans and telling South Africans, oh, if you need shelter, refuge, you can come to America, which I think they refuse. You know, so I want our Prime Minister and I want our leaders to stand up, because when the real history is written, their names will go down in the annals of history. Standing up for the people, for the justice of the people.
As you speak about this thing with alignment and Trump putting pressure on South Africa, Kortensia sent me an article in relation to the Caribbean and Trump demanding that if you are affiliated with Cuba, I think.
Yeah, Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're affiliated with Cuba, if you have Cuban laborers, it's gonna be difficult for your citizens
to get
visas.
Yeah, visas.
You saw that one?
And we know that the Cuban doctors are here.
Yes.
So are they painted a broad brush with professionals?
Yes.
Doctors who goes above and beyond to give health care services to other less fortunate nations?
They're saying that we are basically, I do not understand them, right? Because one time you want to put a sanction on Cuba, and then next time you want to look like you care for Cubans. Because what the article basically said, that having Cubans all over on medical missions are draining the good doctors that could be in Cuba to take care of those persons that need the care.
But who made that decision?
One will have to dance a yard before one dance abroad, as the old adage
Exactly.
said. The Cubans, they're not so naive to say, well, send out doctors, and they would have scarcity of doctors within their circle. So that's ludicrous to me.
But one of the ways,
build a case on that pretense.
One of the ways Cuba has been able to survive and make money is by sending out these doctors to assist, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I say. So the governments are going to contribute to the government of Cuba. They're going to hold them. They've already started with the Venezuelans.
Yes.
Because, you know, he has persons down there from Cuba that helps. So I guess they're just going to... I have something that I'll play eventually, but...
Kortensia, did you say Marco Rubio?
Yeah.
I think he's of Cuban descent, you know.
But if you're of Cuban descent, why are you behaving like that? Because they're even saying relatives of these people that are of these medical professionals will be subjected to this as well. What's wrong with you? And as somebody was saying yesterday when we were talking about this, like, they're not going to send the Cubans out of Miami because the Cubans are the one that basically built Miami. But what is true? What is not true? What is going on in the world?
Yeah.
Things like these
nations are severing ties with friendly nations for whatever reason. Now they are distant in Canada and Mexico, whereas Canada and Mexico now they are forming better alliances with like the European Union, Canada for one, and Mexico. I think Trump is saying to the lady in Mexico, distance yourself from China. You know?
Yeah.
I'm saying, no. with all the analysis that is coming out of Doge and wanting to Medicaid and Medicare and other social programs in the United States, they're not gonna slash the national debt by an inch. The experts already said it. Getting rid of all these people who are there who say like, monitor the checks and balances and try to weed out corruption. They are getting rid of those type of people, and it's not going to help. It's going to hurt the U.S. more so than helping the U.S.
Yes. More and more.
As nations, we have to be strong as nations and assert ourselves in the scheme of things. Because if we all buckle, we're seeing Canada pushing back. We're seeing Mexico pushing back. A northern and a southern neighbor to the United States.
Yeah, but we have to come together and really push back because it says sanctions targeting CARICOM. So I'm kind of happy that Mia Amor Watley is at the head of CARICOM now, because I know she doesn't stand for nonsense. So I know when push comes to shove, with the backing of the other CARICOM members, she can have something very strong to lay at their feet and let them know this is what it is. Because we don't control what you do up there, but you want to control what we do down here. How unfair is that?
And you see, Mr. Trump has been boasted by getting another mandate. And now the people are crying, and the ones and twos, but he has the mandate.
He has the mandate.
Whatever he does now, they will have to live with it because you gave him a second mandate to do the job.
Right now,
my heart goes out to family members who is going to get kicked out and who is probably going to send to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, because of the lack of space, prison space, holding cell space, where all of these potential deportees, law-abiding citizens, but for whatever reason, they don't deserve to be sent to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Exactly. You want nothing to do with Cuba, but still you have something there that belongs to you. It just doesn't make sense. Help it to make sense, because the other day I was reading an article where tourism, Americans cannot go to Cuba freely for tourism since he's back in. I know President Obama had eased the squeeze, so people were going. When President Biden came in, he eased the squeeze again, and now he's squeezed it again. So if you're going to Cuba, you have to specify what you're going to Cuba for, and I think it's only certain things. I can pull that up to explain what Americans can go to Cuba for, but you can't jump on a plane and say, "Oh, I'm going to Cuba to visit my family."
Yes.
As far as the Trump administration is concerned, and America has been concerned for a long while, it is not about what makes sense or right or wrong. It is might is right. Power, and more the world is seeing Trump as a dictator.
Yeah. And
not only that, he's using words like king. Long live the king.
Oh, boy. Waste of time.
Really adding insult to injury, because they vividly remember when they had was to get rid of the monarchy, the British monarchy, and chart their own course.
Yes.
And Hong Kong got away. Trump is thinking about Panama for strategic reasons and economic reasons. If he controlled the Panama Canal, with the rivalry what might potentially go on in other countries in Central America with other canals might be built. We saw what happened with Hong Kong being turned back over to China. He wants to take Panama. He have Guantanamo Bay. We don't know how long that lease has been there for and when it would expire.
Africa, we have another caller, so if anything, you're going to have to...
You can call back.
Yeah, you're going to have to call back. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, boy. We lost that caller. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
No, we lost them.
Okay, so I'm going to read that thing. It says, yes, Americans can travel to Cuba for certain authorized reasons, but tourism is not permitted. You must self-declare your travel category when booking. So authorized travel categories: family visits, official government business, journalism, professional research and meetings, educational activities, religious activities, public performances, humanitarian projects, support for the Cuban people, activities of private foundations or research institutes. So no tourism. And we know Americans make up a big amount of persons that
who travel.
A big amount, large amount. Let me not say big, a large amount. Sounding a bit Trumpy. A large amount of persons that
I wonder if that
participate in
I wonder
tourism.
if that includes, because a lot of Americans go to Cuba for health reasons, because we know that Cuba.
Well, I didn't see medical tourism here.
Yeah, so
It said nothing about that. It just professional research and meetings, journalism, official government business, family visits, public performances. So I guess if artists from America want to go to Cuba, and I'm sure they're gonna vet who's.
Yeah.
And they said travel requirements: you must have a valid U.S. passport. You must self-declare your travel category when booking. You may need to provide additional paperwork from the Office of Foreign Assets Control, and you should read the safety and security section of the Cuba country-specific information sheet. Excuse me, for a security review. And then they say you can purchase a Cuban entry permit or visa at the airport before boarding your flight. You can also obtain a visa online through private services, but there may be an extra charge, and you can return to the U.S. with a top with up to $400 in goods, including alcohol and cigars. No.
Let's take a bit of a commercial break.
All right.
And we'll be
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join Azar Gums, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WIN FM. Join Azar Gums as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WIN FM 98.9.
Adventures in history.
Did you know that Governor de Poincy, a French governor of St. Kitts, was anxious to introduce sugar in 1639? His efforts were thwarted by an inadequate water supply. However, this problem was gradually overcome, and within a few years there were 6 mills operating here, 3 on de Poincy's estate and 3 in the Keon area. Governor de Poincy was also responsible for the building of the first hospital on St. Kitts. It was meant to cater for those who could not receive proper treatment at home and for strangers who became ill during their stay on the island. This was in keeping with his vocation as a night hospitalier of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, Rhodes, and Malta. The hospital was located on the site now occupied by St. Barnabas Church.
Adventures in history.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea. Do we still have that caller? Caller, good morning. You're live on Island Tea.
Hi, good morning. A quick comment on one of the topics with respect to the type of administrations.
Yes.
I beg to have a different perspective on the coalition governments.
Yes.
We have been led to believe that the only system that could work in our type of democracy is when one party has an absolute majority.
Okay.
Irrespective of whether that happens or not, that party is going to be out of power at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
The question is what type of contribution, whether it's a coalition or one party administration, was it successful during that time in office, right?
Yes.
We have a belief that, okay, a party wins and they're going to go on forever. It doesn't happen.
I agree.
And is only history was going to reveal what happened during that time frame. Of course, the party supporters would always say their party did well. For example, during our 40 years of independence, we have had various administrations, coalitions, and individual party, and all of them lost elections. So whether it was for 15, 20, or 7 years, once democracy works, that's it.
Yes.
And the question is, people are saying the reason why coalitions don't work because inevitably the partners have disagreements and they part company. Correct. So what happens when government, a one-party administration collapses internally and there's infighting? Isn't that the same thing? Isn't the result the same thing?
Yes, you're right. You're completely, absolutely
right. I beg to disagree that this Western thing about you have to win a clear majority in order to have a country forward. I will postulate that the best form of any government, especially in our countries, is some sort of coalition. We need to lower the expectation and expect them to last forever.
Yes.
Irrespective of what. That's my perspective on that particular matter.
And it's a good perspective too. I agree, because what the caller is saying is that whereas we are scrutinizing a coalition keenly, we're not realizing that even when you're given the mandate, you over time have problems also why the electorate will vote you out. You see? But it's just that I think it is because we've not been accustomed to coalitions in our region. It is a more recent happening that we scrutinize them so keenly. But the caller made a very valid point.
But okay, we know the last coalition failed because 6 were fired, right?
Yes.
Okay, if the people had faith, okay, let me ask this question. Were there enough left on the PLP administration that the people had confidence in to run the country and to not vote them out because of what they saw?
I think what the caller was saying is people don't just look at it like that. They look at it like, was the coalition beneficial? And even though it crumbled in the end, what people are looking at, it crumbled because of internal, people in the party. But the way the country was being run during and after COVID, people may feel, look, that from that aspect, things were too bad. The problem is that you couldn't get along because of whatever, and we had to suffer because of that. That is why, again, the big backlash. Notice after the firing of ministers, there was an election, and I think that the individual who was leader at the time, he was thinking and hoping that when the next election comes up, he could have been given the mandate. But people were so disillusioned by the fact that everything had crumbled, they weren't going to give him a mandate. And then there was Labour in the background, always waiting, and people always willing to lean back to Labour. So that was a plus for them, you see. But what the caller is saying, and I agree, is that we better start looking forward to more and more coalitions in the future, because it seems as if though that is the only way.
But coalitions have proven not to work because
so far.
Look, even in Guyana,
we have another.
They had a coalition. It fell apart. Hence, Dr. Irfan Ali being the president now. Caller, good morning. You're live on LNT.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi. Morning. Kortensia, Gwen.
Yes.
Listeners.
Good day.
Yeah. First of all, yesterday, Mrs. Henry asked a question of me. Unfortunately, I'm not able to answer her because I don't know much about the program. That is the AI what's it called? Something with AI, training 100 people locally.
Yes.
The cybersecurity
Right.
training?
Yes.
Cybersecurity, that's what it is? Okay. Yeah. My first impression, though, is that why wasn't something like this assigned to the college? Whoever the principals overseas are, direct them to the college as the best place to develop and manage a program like that. Don't know how the Development Bank and other private sources of financing came in. But it seems to me that something like that, for sustainability purposes, for continuity, should be resident in the college. Okay? I have no idea of how it developed, how that program developed, whether there were somebody submitted some proposal and that sort of thing. I have absolutely no idea. But just from what it's about, I would have thought that something like this should be at the college. Just like how the cutting edge of solar technology, I think it is. I think they have or is it electric vehicles? The college, I think, is involved in a program like that. Those are ideal things for the college. The college. You know, not no government, separate government agency or agencies elsewhere. With regards to coalition government, I tend to have a different view.
Yes.
Coalition governments are inherently unstable. You can look at them anywhere in the world.
They fall apart.
And unfortunately, we're not like a lot of places in the world in the sense that we're small, we're still developing. If it's Israel or Italy or one of those developed countries, that's fine. They can afford those kinds of government. They can afford for a government to be formed one week and then next month it disintegrates and another government formed, because the system they have, first of all, it's private-based generally. It's more capitalistic than anything else.
Yeah.
And more people are employed in the private sector. And so the ordinary person are not really affected by the politics of confusion and so on that goes on, and the horse trading and the transactional kind of things that happen among the parties in coalition government. The ordinary person is not affected by that. Okay? But down here it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, that's the big difference. Down here it is. We all see what can happen when the parties disintegrate. It causes an earthquake. It is not just a matter that, disintegrate today.
But Mr. McMahon, I concur with what you're saying. But isn't that because our governments down here don't understand that governments are continuous? Because you find after
don't understand that governments are continuous.
After an election, you find another system comes in and they make drastic changes to what was there. In the private sector, they know what the priorities are, and they make sure those don't change. That is why the small man, as you just said, doesn't feel it that much. But down here, we make drastic changes that disrupts everything and make them start over again.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Our experience generally with coalition governments have not been good. Take, for instance, the last unity government that we had. Some may put the blame on one man. I don't. I do not understand how in our system, where a prime minister is first among equals, the others sit down there in cabinet and let that person have his own way. and be able to say things like, well, I don't know what's going on with this program, with the peace program. I don't know anything about no hut. These kinds of things, okay? There was no accountability, right? And that is the problem that I think eventually led to the disillusion. That and, of course, the players involved, in my opinion, in my estimation, everybody who was involved in that coalition, from captain to cook, should be nowhere near our House of Assembly. That includes Mark Brantley. I mean, you can see the transactional nature that he has now, supposed to be leader of the opposition in a parliamentary democracy, and essentially is colluding with the government. That does not serve the interests of
the people.
The opposition.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
It serves his interests and perhaps his party's interests, but not the people's interests.
Yeah.
You need, opposition is there to keep the government accountable and to make sure there's an alternative for the people. And that is not happening. Okay? So, generally speaking, I am not in favor of coalition governments. I'm in favor of choice.
Yep.
The people should always have a choice. If there's a collection of parties, and since we're still under the parliamentary democracy thing, party get together, submit their proposals, etc., for the development of the country, how they see the future. The other party does the same. There's a contest in an election, and the people choose. They have a choice. And that party then pursues its agenda. If it does not do so to the satisfaction of the people, then the people vote them out and start again.
That's true.
Right? To me, that is less disruptive than having these marriages of convenience. It's not good. Okay? And unfortunately, even now that we've had a change of government, it seems to me that it's still politics as usual, right? The horse trading and the machinations and all that is still there, and so you're going to get the same results.
Yeah.
Right? People are going to be dissatisfied.
But Caller, do you think that the opposition of Nevis, do you think that his constituents are pleased that, as we would say, he's in bed with the current government and they're receiving their due diligence, so they don't have an absolute problem with that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a transactional nature of things. Is that a way to foster good relations between our two islands? That you essentially bargain away your whatever seats with what you can get? Is that ethical?
Yes, yes.
That's the whole point. It is not.
Let me also ask you this, Mr. McMahon. I heard Mark in his most recent press conference trying to explain the fair share aspect, and he was saying that he had a written agreement with the prior system, but he doesn't have a written agreement with the present system, and therefore, I'm trying to assess, isn't fair share, no matter what system, whether it's written or not? Should he still not? Should he still not be going for fair share?
You cannot run the relations between manage relations between St. Kitts and Nevis on the basis of individual politicians or leaders. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Because those change, those are transient. So you won't tell me a next leader comes in and tears up everything that the one had before? That's nonsense. Have constitutional arrangements that are clearly defined, that everybody negotiated and agreed to, okay? That it doesn't matter who is in power, whether in Bastille or in Charlestown. These things govern the relations between the two islands and end the confusion. Right? You can't depend on the personal chemistry between two leaders because we well, we know one for sure is very transactional. You switch one to one side one day, and then when it's convenient to the next side. How can you? I don't understand, to be quite honest. He may be popular in Nevis, but I don't understand based on other things like his delivery results and so on. I don't understand how he stayed in power so long, right? And in the final analysis, it's democracy. The people vote for who they want, right? But if the people themselves do not understand what their best interests are,
yes,
well, this is what we're going to continue to get.
That's I
right?
agree.
They should not eat. I would set a soul with no water in my mouth. Brantley should be nowhere near elected politics in Nevis up to now, right? Some other people as well, right, in our political establishment, but he for sure, okay? You look at how Anguilla is progressing, right? You know, so many things happening in Anguilla, yet the people decided to change their government. Why? Obviously, and this was evident since 1967, Anguillans don't stand for nonsense, okay? And so they hold the people they elect accountable. So even though they might have been doing some good things there and so on, the people decided this does not meet our expectations. Out you go, bring in another set. And the transition is smooth as ever, okay, from all appearances.
Yeah.
We lack that here. There isn't that idea that, well, I elect you, you are accountable to me. If you don't meet my expectations, then you're out of here. There's not that here.
And that is the way,
unfortunately.
And that is the way it should be. That is the way.
That is exactly how it should be.
Yes. Yes.
Right? That is what makes a democracy works. Okay, not these kind of backroom trading and this funny kind of politics that we have, and then going to tell us that, well, that's the way politics works. That's how it was always done. You don't know anything about politics, huh? You know, that is what we have now. Practicing politics the same old dirty way. And that, I think, is the root of a lot of our problems. Right? And in the final analysis, it's going to be what the people want, what the expectations are, what they think is the best for the future, their future and their children's future. Do they want to continue with the same old khaki pants, or do they want something different? Okay? All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, rather interesting, you know. People are or should be expecting more from their representatives. Don't just say, well, okay, we elected you in and you don't meet the mandate they gave you and they're going to re-elect you.
But over the past few elections over in our sister island, they have been the party that's in, they've been clean sweeping.
You mean over on Nevis?
Yeah.
And that is why he was wondering why this consistently happens with Mark Brantley.
He must be doing something good for his constituents and the electorate over there, hence them giving him the chance over and over. And maybe they see what he's doing is working for their island, so maybe that's why they keep giving him a chance.
Well, I would say
maybe I need to speak with my Nevision friend and hear what he has to say, and then maybe I can comment more. But I try to stay out of that in religion because it becomes too much at times. Because he must be doing something right that we are not seeing, because as the previous callers have an opposition if you're going to be in bed with the present government, but he must be doing something for the people, his electorate, to keep voting him back in. He has to be doing something good over there.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense, because they keep re-electing him.
Yeah. So we don't live over there. We don't live in the house. We don't know what's going on. So I need to hear it from someone that says why is he And as I share the same sentiments with Mr. McMahon, coalitions don't work. And I'm sure that's not that coalition that we had that fell apart. I'm sure that's not the first. I'm sure there were more before me, but I have to research. As I said, I wasn't born here, so I don't know.
No, as far as I can recall, I think I may be wrong, but I think Unity was the first.
Coalition?
Yeah.
Okay, so prior to that, it's just either PAM or Labour that had the stronghold on the country.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I differ. I agree with you that they don't work, but I feel that they can if you have mature individuals and you have individuals who put the priorities where they should be placed.
Country above self.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Not self above country.
Yeah. Because one of the reasons why they have not worked in our region is because there are individuals in there who either they're at the head and they want to dictate, or there's others who are not at the head table, but they want something that is not feasible for the whole, or they're saying to the head, look, this is what we need, but the head stubbornly doesn't want to,
somebody's
accept.
not working with somebody.
Somebody's not working with somebody. So we need mature people who are going to say, look, we may have our differences, but these are the things we need for the country to
for the
go
people,
forward.
exactly. Because it's not about you. You've been elected to serve, and as I said, now that people know that they have the power, these politicians are in trouble. And whether we need a new breed of politicians or we still need the ones that we have in, things need to get better, because the cry continues that it's not going too well.
Well, we're going to have to start winding up because we know there's a program after this. And so are there any words you would like to leave our audience with?
It's Friday. I implore everybody to be kind. It's the end of the month, so be grateful that you've made it this far. Know that you didn't make it by your own powers. Whatever you had planned and didn't work out for this month, remember we have another day to try, which is the new month, which begins tomorrow. So be kind, be patient, smile, read more, understand more, and let's just all work together for the common good of the nation, country above self.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave by saying to Sylvine, who made a passing shot when she said about believing in God, I do not adhere to this God concept, but I believe in a creator. It is just that I do not try to assess who the creator is. I think one of the things with religion is that the people involved in those religions tell you they know God. You understand? I do not know who the creator is. I do not have a monopoly on knowledge. I am a fledgling little frail human being. But I do know that some force created what exists. And I choose to give that force the name, the creator. Okay? Now, even Greg admitted that he cannot swear that the Bible is the word of God. And I commend him because he was honest. Because if he was to say, I know it is the word of God, then he would have been lying. Okay? So if you cannot swear that the Bible is the word of God, then I am one who says, I know there is a creator. It's just that I don't know who the creator is. I pray, you understand, to the creator. I get up in the morning, I say, thank you, creator, for bringing me here thus far, and so on and so forth. I will never try to assess who God or the creator is. And it is as simple as that. But I am not an atheist. I believe there is a creator. Okay?
So folks, stay tuned for Heritage Matters. It is up next.
Found the Sound 98.9 FFM.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM